Hello and welcome to this offlane tier list for Dota 2 patch 7.38. My name is Atomo. I talked with Davai Lama and we had this long video discussion, very in-depth about each hero. But I thought, some people don't have that much time. Some people don't really have the 90 minutes, or was it like 100? It's like 100 minutes, so it's more like it's an hour and 40 minutes to sit and really, learn about every hero. So I'm going to make this in a more bite-sized version of the patch and why these heroes are in every tier. So let's begin with the bottom. By the way, you can check this is like the S tier, the top, A, B, C, and D tier. So let's begin at the bottom at the D tier. Again, we're not going to go through every hero, just a few of the ones that stand out. A big one would be Sand King. So Sand King, he got in the D tier because he lost some damage, he lost some stats, and in general, he's just like everything became a lot weaker. I think the change here was he's still universal, but unfortunately, he didn't get any stats. Now, why does this matter? A lot of universal heroes, they used to get 0.7 damage per attribute, but now they get 0.45. So what happened was that the universal heroes, a lot of them got less damage, but they got more stats to sort of make up for that. Sand King didn't. He got like no stat gain. I think he got like what, 0.2 agility gain. But in general, he's just did not get a lot of stats. He's a lot weaker. The level 10 talent is worse, and he's just having a really tough time. So Sand King is one of our big losers. Brewmaster is a very similar thing, where he also lost a lot of damage and gained nothing. He lost 61 damage, and everything's worse. He has like a slightly better innate, but it doesn't actually matter like it doesn't do anything. So that's one of the reasons why I love the Deer Tiers heroes. Are either they lost a lot and gained nothing, or they were crap and then they got something that made them like just doesn't matter. The like Visage, for example, the Grave Chill, where is it? Like one of his Death Toll is also like worst. It was worse before, but overall these heroes are all bad. Skip them if you can. C tier. These are heroes that are in general, if you're a specialist, they're kind of worth it, but they're still iffy and we don't really know if they're good or not. To be fair, some of these heroes do seem like they got buffed. Like I know I'm seeing Centaur quite a bit in the Dream League right now, but here's heroes I want to talk about is like Mars. His Arena of Blood is now a bit better with a Victory Feast. His innate ability is a lot better right now, so he could be something worth picking up. But some heroes did get nerfed. Legion Commander. She doesn't cast the automatic press the attack when she wins the duel. This was something built into the skill, but now what happens is that you have to take a facet for it. It's generally seen as the weak facet, so you lose something, which is why she is in the C tier. Her Moment of Courage doesn't life steal as much on creeps, which makes jungling a little bit more difficult, and in general she's just a little bit weaker because of that. So these are the heroes in the C tier. Underlord is interesting because he didn't get much changes, but he is a little bit better now due to the change to Gleipnir. Before, Gleipnir was built from Maelstrom. You wanted the Rod of Atos to root people down, but you could root one person. But you don't want to build Gleipnir, because Gleipnir was like, it's not really suitable for him. Now, you can build Gleipnir, so he's a little bit better, but we don't know where he is at the tier list. The music is slightly loud. I'm just going to reduce it a little bit. Okay, there we go. So that's why he's in the C tier. Let's go up to the B tier. These are heroes that are either were very strong and got a slight nerf, or were very weak and got decent changes. So let's begin with someone like Tidehunter. Tidehunter, Krill Eater is a lot better. You used to begin with something like less than 5 stats, 5 or 3 strength less. Doesn't reduce that, so you start off the same. But the bigger thing is Kraken Shell. You can press Kraken Shell to double the block. This is pretty amazing because when you look at Kraken Shell at level 2, you have 35 damage block. You can upgrade it to 70. In LA, no one's hitting above 70 damage. Maybe, Trinity Protector. But this makes Tidehunter by physical harass unkillable. And it works really well with Kraken as well because you get that extra damage block. You can get 4 per kill. You double that to 8. You are really tanky on Tidehunter. But as we mentioned, the hero was kind of unseen the last patch, but we do believe he's a lot better. Slaughter is also kind of popular just because there's a lot more water, and he's just a little bit better, a little bit more regen, a little bit more, better movement speed. Well, not exactly better movement speed, but he's a little bit faster just because there's more map. Although overall, we feel like Slaughter might be better as a mid. Another hero that is at the top is Phoenix, just because the Phoenix is very strong, and you do get you lose a little bit of damage, but it doesn't matter because Phoenix doesn't care, and your hotspot fast is a lot better. Although you still use Dying Light, but Phoenix overall feels a little bit better. And in general, just the B tier is if you're good with them, you probably get 55% win rate. If you're bad with them, you still usually break even. They're just generally worth picking. A good hero for that example is like Pangolier, who got a bunch of orb effects. I believe Orb of Corrosion is now good on him again, so that's kind of nice. He does lose a little bit of stats here and there, but it's still fine because the hero is like was always good, very flexible, and the new orb effects are really good for him. Let's go up to the A tier. We're going to go a little bit more detail with these heroes. These are heroes that were either overpowered at the end of the patch, or they were good and then they got some nice buffs. So Dawnbreaker is, she got 2 new facets, Star Surge and Trailblazer. Both are pretty nice, although we still believe Solar Charge is the better. Star Surge, if you hit a bunch of people with your spinning attack, it's Starbreaker, you get an extra bit of attack speed for you and your allies. It's nice, kind of good for DPS, but Solar Charge is just better because you always, lower cooldowns in your spells are just good. That's just how it works. And Trailblazers feels like a support facet, but we don't know quite yet. The big change is, of course, the Aghanim Scepter. Basically, before, when you use the Aghanim Scepter, you'd be in the air and you provide an aura on the ground of where you want to land. Now you land very quickly, but the aura follows you around. So you're on the ground with an aura. The aura is weaker. You don't have the evasion that you used to have, but you're also on the ground affecting people with like your Vlads, your Guardian Greaves, your Pipe, your Crimson, if you're building these items. So it's a bit of a give and take, but I overall feel like this is a nice change for the hero. So she was very strong before. She's gotten some changes. Maybe she's a tiny bit weaker, but she's still very A tier. We have Beastmaster, who's always been strong. He basically got no changes that really matter. Slightly more damage at level 1, better stats as well is nice. And the shard is like whatever. So he was good, remains good. Abaddon was incredible, remains incredible. Abaddon might even be buffed. Now, why do I say that? Firstly, his stat gains have increased on all. More strength, more agility, more intelligence is good. And he gets 10 damage extra at level 1. He used to do 45 damage. Now he's 55. That is a lot. That is more than a 20% increase. Yes, I'm right. More than 20%. And in return, he does get less damage per level, but it's a minor nerf compared to other universal heroes. So it's just overall, he was very strong. He remains very strong, and his laning phase is a little bit better now. Let's go to the S tier. These are the top of the top. These guys are the ones who can win games solo. If you're really good, you should be winning, 2/3 of your game with these guys. Let's begin with Darkseer. Why is Darkseer so good? Darkseer is so good for there's a lot of reasons, but the first one is that he actually has an innate ability. If you look at his old innate ability, it was intelligence has to be equal of average of strength and agility. That was garbage. It was a shitty innate ability. Now what happens is that every time he levels up, he gets a little bit of regen going on from it's 10% plus 2% of your level. So at level 4, you're getting up something like 18%. 10 plus 4 times 2, 18% of your max health and max mana. This is amazing because during the laning phase, you will be leveling up quite a bit. You're going to go from level 1 to about 6, 7 in the laning phase in the first 8 minutes. So you're going to be getting a lot of these consistent little bit of heals that add up to a lot. This can also proc in the middle of a team fight. Fight begins, they jump on you, someone on their side dies. Guess what? You heal up 30, 40%. You're very hard to kill. It's a huge, powerful innate ability. Some say, it only activates 29 times a game, but insanely strong as an innate ability. Another thing is that he got 5 more damage at level 1. His damage per level doesn't decrease by a lot, but you don't right-click a lot on Darkseer. So yes, it's one of the biggest damage nerfs over level 30, but again, Darkseer doesn't actually hit. And in return, you do get double the bonus attack speed from Quick Wit. So you're hitting less. I mean, you're hitting weaker, but you're hitting a lot less. So it's really good. And in general, the hero's always been very strong. Then we have Magnus. Magnus, very similar to Darkseer. He did not have facets before. His facet was reverse polarity. I already had that. But now he does have facets. His damage level 1 increased by 7. See, notice the trend? Level 1 damage increased. Later levels a bit less. But, laning phase, early right click is very helpful. And you have 2 very good facet options. Either Diminishing Return, which is a free Aghanim shard. It's a bit more support. Or Eternal Empowerment, which is your empower is permanent on you and like it buffs itself up the more you hit. Skewer's also kind of better now because it was difficult to get people. Alright, so the old Skewer, when you go through people with cliffs and trees, it does damage. Now it's just on distance traveled, which is so much easier. You're not always going to have a cliff or a tree nearby. It's just really good. And that's just like he got facets. and they're good facets, and his stats, of course, are better. More intelligence, as usual. Alright, then we have Enigma. Now, Enigma, to be fair with you, is relatively unchanged. He's exactly the same as he was before, perhaps a little bit weaker. He was strong. He is strong now. It's not really that he moved up anywhere or went down anywhere. He's always been good. He remains as good as before. It's just, black hole, right? You get a good black hole, you win a game. Last one is Night Stalker. So Night Stalker, he lost the Blinding Void facet and his Night Rain was changed. So what happened is that Night Rain becomes a level 5 ability and you get level 1 for free. What does this mean is that you are given a free passive at level 1, which means you can take Crippling Fear or Void and still have Hunter in the Night. And Hunter in the Night at max level gives you a little bit more attack speed, same movement, but you are given 16% movement speed at level 1 for free. You can max a spell at last, you can max it early. Either way, you're getting good bonuses out of it. Of course, there's Voidbringer, but Davai Lama said it didn't feel like it was a very good ability for him. So I'm kind of like, he's the expert, he would know. But generally, just having free innates, free facets, free stuff like that is always a big boon to the hero. And that's why Night Stalker makes it the S tier. That's our tier list. Please let me know if you like this sort of shorter, faster format. There is a much longer version of this video with him expressing very in-depth thoughts about all these heroes. But if you like it, let me know so I can actually make more of this. And yeah, see you around. Bye-bye.